Welcome to the WC Coins world. As a coin enthusiast or history lover, you've found your spot. Today, we'll explore the 1982 Kennedy half dollar, featuring distinct features, unforeseen mints, and captivating details for collectors' curiosity. Prepare to uncover all there is to know about this iconic U.S. coin. Here is a long, highly detailed, professional YouTube video script about the 1982 Kennedy half dollar, crafted for a 1-hour video for your channel WC Coins World. Divided into 40 paragraphs with no punctuation or line breaks as requested. The 1982 Kennedy half dollar is a fascinating chapter in the history of American coinage, not only because of its place within the long-running series honoring the 35th President of the United States, John F. Kennedy, but also due to the economic and historical context in which it was struck and the specific numismatic characteristics that define it. The Kennedy half dollar series itself began in 1964 as a commemorative response to the assassination of President Kennedy in November 1963, with the United States Mint moving swiftly to redesign the existing Franklin half dollar and bring a new coin into circulation that would memorialize a president beloved by many in the nation and around the world. The rapid design approval led to the issuance of the first Kennedy half dollars within months of his death, and the series has remained in production ever since, albeit with changes in metal composition, production volume, and collector interest over the decades. In the early years of the Kennedy half dollar, the coins were struck in 90% silver in 1964, reflecting the traditional silver content of circulating half dollars at that time, but beginning in 1965 and continuing through 1970, the composition was changed to 40% silver in a copper-nickel-clad sandwich structure as the United States was moving away from silver coinage due to rising silver prices and a shift toward more economical metals. This marked the beginning of the modern era in U.S. coinage and also began to shape the role that the Kennedy half dollar would play as a semi-circulating coin, increasingly hoarded and collected rather than used in daily commerce. By the 1980s, the Kennedy half dollar had become a coin that was produced more for collectors and commercial demand rather than for widespread circulation, though it continued to be struck and distributed through Federal Reserve banks. The public's declining use of the half dollar in everyday transactions meant that the Mint adjusted its production strategy accordingly in 1982. This situation was fully apparent, and the Mint made some critical decisions about how to strike the Kennedy half dollar and how to manage its coinage operations moving forward, and those decisions are central to the unique history of the 1982 issue. The year 1982 was a pivotal one for the United States Mint as it faced continued budget constraints and increasing public indifference to certain denominations of coins, including the half dollar. This was the first year since the introduction of the Kennedy half dollar in which no mint set was produced for collectors due to cost-cutting measures, and as a result, uncirculated examples of the 1982 Kennedy half dollar are scarcer than other dates, especially in high grade, since collectors would normally have obtained pristine coins from those government-issued mint sets. In terms of mintage, the 1982 Kennedy half dollar was produced at two mint facilities: the Denver Mint, which placed its traditional D Mint mark on the coin, and the Philadelphia Mint, which for the first time in the Kennedy half. The P Mint mark on half dollars is a major milestone in U.S. coinage. Prior to this, the Philadelphia Mint never used it on other denominations, except for experimental/special issues. The addition of the P Mint mark on the 1982 Kennedy half dollar was part of a broader decision to standardize the use of mint marks across U.S. coinage to ensure better tracking and accountability, and to provide collectors with more information about where their coins were struck. It also aligned with the introduction of the P Mint mark on the Jefferson nickel and the Roosevelt dime during the early 1980s, which further reflects a period of change and modernization within the Mint's operating philosophy and production logistics. The 1982 Kennedy half dollar thus became the very first half dollar in history to bear the P Mint mark, and this has made it an important date for numismatists who are interested in mint mark evolution and coinage policy in the United States. This is especially intriguing given that the Kennedy half-dollar series spans multiple eras of U.S. coin production, including the Silver Era, the Clad Era, and various special commemorative releases, and the inclusion of AP Mint mark in 1982 sets it apart as a key transitional issue. Both the 1982 D and 1982 P Kennedy half dollars were struck in copper-nickel clad composition, which had been the standard since 1971, and they were produced for general circulation. However, due to the lack of a mint set, many collectors had to obtain their 1982 halves from circulation or from bankrolls, which meant that most of the coins encountered today show signs of wear, and handling this makes high-grade examples, particularly those certified MS-65 or higher, more difficult to find and more desirable in the marketplace. The 1982 Kennedy half dollar's complexity arises from die varieties and errors, such as double die issues with design duplication due to misalignment during die hubbing. These error collectors' favorites can significantly increase the coin's value, especially if visible on the date or Kennedy's profile. The Kennedy half dollar's designer, Gilroy Roberts, was the U.S. Mint's chief engraver when creating the reverse design, featuring a bust of Kennedy for a presidential medal. Together, they adapted the image for circulation, producing an iconic, enduring coin. Over time, due to die polishing, wear, and modifications, the details have changed slightly, making it intriguing for collectors who study die variations or diagnostics. In the 1982 issue, mint marks and die characteristics have become valuable tools for identifying rare and premium-grade coins. The obverse of the 1982 Kennedy half dollar features the portrait of John F. Kennedy facing left with the inscriptions, "Liberty" above the portrait, "I in God We Trust" below, and the date 1982 beneath the neckline. The mint mark appears just above the date on the right side of Kennedy's neck, and this placement is consistent with other modern half dollars. But what makes it historically important is the presence of the P mint mark for the Philadelphia issue, as this was the first time such a mark was used on this denomination. The reverse of the coin displays the presidential seal, a heraldic eagle with a shield on its breast clutching an olive branch in its right talon and a bundle of arrows in its left talon, symbolizing the nation's commitment to peace and readiness for war. Above the eagle's head is a ring of stars, and the inscription, "United States of America," and half dollar appear around the outer rim. This design is intricate and full of symbolism, and it has remained a fixture of the Kennedy half-dollar series for decades, with only occasional modifications for commemorative editions. As for the mintage figures, the 1982 D Kennedy half-dollar saw a production of approximately 32 million coins, while the 1982 P had a mintage of around 10.8 million coins, significantly lower than the Denver issue, which contributes to its relative scarcity, particularly in uncirculated condition, and especially given the lack of official mint sets. This disparity in mintage has become a key consideration for collectors assembling date and mint mark sets of the series. In the context of the broader coin market, the 1982 Kennedy half dollar occupies an interesting niche. It is not considered a rare coin in circulated grades, but it is far from common in high mint state, particularly when it comes to sharply struck examples with full luster and no contact marks. Coins that meet these criteria are often sent for grading and encapsulation by third-party services such as PCGS and NGC, where high grades can command substantial premiums over face value. Collectors also appreciate the historical context of the coin, as it was struck during the Reagan administration, a time of economic change, inflation concerns, and shifts in American monetary policy. The coin serves as a time capsule of early 1980s America, and for those who lived through that era or study it through its artifacts, the 1982 Kennedy half dollar offers a tangible link to the past and a reflection of national sentiment at the time. Interestingly, despite the continued production of the Kennedy half dollar through 1982 and beyond, the coin's actual presence in everyday commerce continued to dwindle. By this point, many Americans simply did not use the half dollar in regular transactions, and this was reflected in banks' handling of the denomination, with most coins remaining in storage or in rolls rather than being actively distributed or spent, and this situation has remained largely unchanged to this day. The scarcity of high-quality 1982 Kennedy half dollars also led to some collectors turning to proof versions. However, there were no proof Kennedy half dollars struck in 1982 because proof coinage was also suspended that year due to budget constraints. This further exacerbated the scarcity of premium examples and made 1982 a particularly challenging year for collectors seeking to assemble complete proof and uncirculated runs of the Kennedy series. The coin's absence from mint sets and proof sets has elevated its status among key dates in the modern Kennedy half-dollar series alongside other low-mintage or special issue coins such as the 1970 D, the 1987 P, and D, and various silver issues released only in collector formats, and this unique status continues to draw attention from collectors, new and old, especially those who appreciate the nuances of modern coinage. The impact of the 1982 Kennedy half dollar on the overall series is undeniable. It marks the beginning of a new chapter in mint-mark policy, a year of limited government-issued numismatic products, and a coin that, despite being struck in the tens of millions, has become relatively hard to find in pristine condition. It also underscores the challenges faced by the mint in balancing budget realities with collector expectations and public demand. From an educational perspective, the 1982 Kennedy half dollar provides an excellent case study in how coinage policy, economic conditions, and numismatic interest intersect. It illustrates how even a modern coin can become an important and historic piece in a broader collection, and how changes in minting practices such as the addition of a mint mark can have lasting implications for coin design and collecting. Collectors today who seek the 1982 Kennedy half dollar often do so with specific goals in mind. Some are trying to complete a full date and mint mark set of Kennedy half dollars, while others are focused on acquiring high-grade examples or searching for error coins and doubled dies, and still others are drawn to the historical significance of the first P mint-marked half dollar and the numismatic importance it carries within the series. As time continues to pass and fewer high-quality examples of the 1982 Kennedy half dollar remain in circulation, its value both historically and monetarily is likely to increase. The coin stands as a reminder that even in an era dominated by clad coinage and declining use in commerce, the U.S. Mint was still making decisions and producing pieces that would become meaningful chapters in the story of American money. The Kennedy half dollar series itself continues to evolve with ongoing production primarily for collectors, special silver issues released through the U.S. Mint's numismatic programs, and periodic design modifications to honor events or anniversaries, but the 1982 coin remains a cornerstone of the series and a collector favorite for the reasons outlined here. The legacy of John F. Kennedy continues to be honored through this coin, which, despite the changes in composition usage and collector focus, remains a symbol of national pride and remembrance, and the 1982 issue in particular adds another layer to that story by marking a historic shift in the way the mint identified its coins and served its collecting public. Thanks for watching WC Coins World, where history and coin collecting come together in every episode. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the 1982 Kennedy half dollar and all the rich history behind it, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and turn on notifications so you never miss a new video. We've got plenty more amazing coins to explore, from rare mint marks to historical designs and hidden treasures hiding in your change, so stay tuned. Leave a comment below if you've got a 1982 Kennedy half dollar in your collection, or if there's a coin you'd like me to cover in a future video. Your support helps keep the history of coins alive, and I truly appreciate each and every one of you. Until next time, keep collecting, keep learning, and keep discovering the world of coins right here on WC Coins World.